Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, I give you BVO.
Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know, shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know, every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know, I ain't getting body, but I'm a...
On behalf of BVO Boxing TV, we would like to thank our sponsor, Raycon. Don't forget to grab your Raycon Everyday Earbuds, the perfect bass model for premium sound, with active noise cancellation to block out distractions and transparency mode to keep you aware of your surroundings. They're ideal for your everyday needs. Just visit rayconglobal.com. That's rayconglobal.com and elevate your listening experience.
BVO Sports TV, and we back. Hold on a second. Hold on. Yo, what's up? What's up? It's your boy. We back. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put a commercial on while I fix this. 1 second.
B3 Picks here to send a big shout out to the Sports Talk Network, the one and only, the People's Network. Shout out to BVO Sports TV and all of the channels of the Sports Talk Network. They partner with your guy B3 Picks and B3BoxingPicks.com, where we provide pre-fight boxing picks of the week, but also live boxing betting options so we can make money pre-fight or during the fight betting on the beautiful sport of boxing. Follow me on all social media at B3 Boxing Picks. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Not Another Boxing Channel, presented by B3 Picks for more content. The membership is as low as $25 a month. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram, B3 Boxing Picks, and let's go green.
Yo, how you doing? Can you hear me? Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm trying to get my mic together. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Okay. Give me 1 second. You know, whenever you rushing, it never seems like it can get on there right. But
No, take your time. If you need a few more minutes, that's fine.
can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, now okay. I think I got everything straight now. So we're gonna switch it up just a little bit today. I know we usually talk about mental health and things of that nature, but I noticed that you are a big boxing fan. You watch some of the same people I like to watch as well. So if you don't mind today, I want to kind of get an understanding of what you like and what you know about boxing, if that's okay.
Okay, I've told y'all time and time again, VVO, that I am a casual. But then, I don't know. When I see casuals, then it makes me question that again. I'm like, maybe I'm not that much of a casual.
No, you're not. You're not a casual. You're a hardcore fan. You just don't want to say it. You don't want to be, and with the rest of the us degenerates that love boxing. But and you know what's funny about boxing? If anybody knows anything current, they're usually a hardcore boxing fan because if you think about it, no one covers boxing but YouTube. You know what I mean?
No,
No
that
one really
is true.
covers.
You have to go look for it. I'm hearing what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's like you might get every now and then if Tank Davis is fighting, you might get a 10-second clip on Sports Center, but
Yeah,
for the most part, boxing doesn't exist to the mainstream media.
no,
So
that
that
is.
being said, go ahead.
No, I just agreed with you. That's all. I agreed.
So that being said, what do you think about the Jake Paul Tank Davis fight being possibly off because of weight? What do you think?
Possibly off.
Yes.
When did that come out?
The Atlanta, actually the Georgia Boxing Commission said they only allow a difference of 10 pounds. And in this fight, we're looking at a possibly being as much as 80 pounds of a difference. So they don't want, if someone gets on the live, they don't want that to be on their hands. So what do you think about that possibly happening?
Well, okay. First off, I have to joke for a minute. Salute to the chat. Salute to my family here, DP Rocker. The first thing that I thought about, honestly, BVO, was looks like another love TKO. So it came to my mind. My brother over there, DP, is going to joke with that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shout
I
out to
just feel
Cash.
like all of this has been a waste of time, to be
Yeah.
honest. I mean, obviously, when we first heard about, Tank getting ready to fight Jake Paul, it was like, this doesn't make sense. Then it was like, okay, it's obviously a money thing, right? But then it's the other part of me that's like, he's still not in the best mental space, And so I'm looking at all that combined. I just think it's a waste of time, a waste of true boxing fans in our time. That's all.
Let me ask you this. Just is kind of a little bit different, but when you see Tank Davis expressing that he needs counseling and he needs help kind of maneuvering family, do you think that's a little bit of post-traumatic stress disorder?
I would not be surprised. I mean, you think about what we've just heard as boxing fans. I don't know that young man personally, but just hearing about his childhood, yeah, definitely that could have been traumatic. And it's only a problem when it's not resolved. So then we see it leak starting between the ages of 26 to 30. It starts really leaking out in behaviors and things like that. I mean, I wish him all the best. It sucks because it's a big part of me that I just don't think he's ever going to give us as fans what we really want, the fights we really want. But as long as he's taking care of self, to me, that's all that matters. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and the reason, the thing that I'm starting to figure out, and maybe I'm wrong, but I never realized that it's really good to have somebody to help you sort out feelings and be able to speak precisely to what's bothering you. Because I don't know, for some reason, I feel like when I first was having issues, I feel like it made me weak. And it's like when you go into counseling, you kind of understand that maybe you do have to unpack these things and figure out why you feel this way or why you feel that way. And I'm just wondering, that's the whole purpose of counseling, just so you can figure out how to regulate your own emotions, right?
That's one part of it. I always tell people just, from a therapist standpoint, for me, I'm helping you help yourself. So that way you can navigate through life in order to have the best quality life. So that looks different for so many of you. It could be, for one, emotional regulation skills. For another, it could be They're dealing with PTSD, which means the techniques I use are totally different. It could be interpersonal things. They may never learned how to communicate effectively with others, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it can be a plethora of things, but yeah, I just want to help somebody help themselves. That can be
Yeah,
life changing, right?
absolutely. The thing that's confusing for me is,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm wrong, but
Okay.
I never realized how close insanity is, and it's like it's such a thin line because
Hmm.
I can say there's been times, at least for me when I was younger, that I could feel myself tapping that line. You know what I mean, mentally,
Right.
and I've been learning, through counseling and and I'm a big reader. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a big reader. But you kind of find out that sometimes to be, sometimes you can almost push yourself over the cliff, so to speak, and really get yourself in trouble if you're not careful. And I never realized that, like, if you become obsessive about something, it
Yep.
can really take over your mind. And like I was reading about Van Gogh, and they was talking about how he was so in love with the music, that he kind of lost. I don't know what the proper medical term is, but he kind of lost um reality. And I
Yes,
don't
it's the
know if you
reality.
ever heard of some, and that really can happen to someone.
Yeah. Anytime we're not balanced, anytime
Hmm.
we're not balanced, and if we remain in this state of being off kilter a little bit too much,
Hmm.
um, all of us, I often say that in even the content I do, is
Hmm.
that even as a therapist, I'm not exempt from that. Anybody can get off balance, and if they stay there too long, it
Hmm.
can potentially lead to psychosis, psychotic symptoms. So yeah, it can get a little scary when you think about it that way, right?
Yeah. I had a friend of mine. I used to sell cars back in the day before I got into
Mhm.
management, and I had a really good friend of mine who was probably the best salesman I ever, been around. And
Okay.
he actually would spend, and I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to put his business out there, but he spent 48 hours in mental treatments a couple times because of sleep deprivation, and like he had something. I guess he was hearing voices that made him want to go get
Mhm.
the money. I don't know if you know what I mean when I said he would not, like, how like you hear Rocco on the song say the money keep calling my name. He
Right.
really had developed, so he actually created, because that's how powerful the mind is, I think. Because nothing was wrong with him, but he got so obsessive about making money that
Mhm.
it drove him pretty over the top. And when I think about it now, it was pretty scary watching it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's crazy.
Mhm.
I hate to use the word scary, but I can't think of a better,
Well, no, I mean,
word to come okay
no,
to
you
say
don't
than
have
scary.
to. Yeah, I mean, I always say you never know who's listening to content, and
Right.
so you want it to be able to reach any and everyone, right? No matter the
Hmm.
age. So, no, but to watch somebody to what the world may say is going mad, right? That
Right.
can be quite concerning and unsettling, because then it's like, wow, you know, what if I had become too obsessive with something? Would that have
Hmm.
been me, right? But
Yeah.
sleep hygiene, I plan to do a video about that, because
Hmm.
yes, sleep deprivation, if we're not careful, before you know it, you will be having auditory, visual hallucinations easily. And that, yeah, I'm sure that would be quite concerning for anyone on here. So,
And I'm not asking you this if it's too uncomfortable a question, you can tell me. But
mhm,
one of the things I've always kind of struggled with on understanding mental health was I grew up a Christian, in a Black Christian household,
I got
and
you.
in those conservative households, counseling is looked down on, so to speak. And if someone truly is having an issue,
Mm-hmm,
people look at it as maybe they're possessed with something or some type of evil within them. How do
mm-hmm.
you combat that, being a licensed professional when people have that kind of thought?
So at the church that I'm at,
Right.
um, the pastor there,
Hmm.
he recognizes the line. So you know how pastoral counseling and stuff, they'll do
Hmm.
that and they'll provide that. And that's typically at any church, regardless of the denomination. They have somebody there that, you know, the body can go to for counsel. Okay. He still recognizes that when it gets to a certain point, we're not even talking about, you know, like what one would say spiritual warfare, if you will. We're talking about something with maybe the chemistry, right? Chemicals that may be being released. And he's like, that's out of my scope. Like, right. So it's a blessing that he respects that. But I get it. And that is why I started, you know, my page. So that way I can normalize mental health, especially in the lives of Black men and Black women. So
I never realized this. Maybe because, like, and I say this because I do try to follow Christ the best I can. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'll say this. I noticed that for me, when people like play with like tarot cards or like crystals, you know, anything with like that, I would say has that like that spell witchcraft thing to it. It always scares me, and I was just wondering, as a professional, when you see someone engaging in those things, is that just like a normal hobby, or how do you guys see it? Because for me, it scares me to death.
No, yeah, and see, that's the thing. Before you even actually start practicing, you are to undergo, obviously, our own psyche dial. Like, somebody's going to do evaluation on you. You have to be aware of all of your biases, because that is the one thing about counseling is you never know who's going to sit before you. And if that is their belief system, who am I to say that it's wrong, right? That doesn't matter. I want to help them better help themselves for the reason they can. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it's not like I'm taking these people home. It's not like, I mean, I'm just being honest. I just don't see it that way.
I think sometimes, you know, as we call it, I'll call it a casual one, you know, to what you're doing. As a novice, when I see you doing what you're doing, sometimes I forget that that's your job and your career. And I think it's just like when you go to the hospital and someone, you know, people, you know, we've all had people trip out like, oh, the doctor don't care, blah blah blah. I don't be thinking the doctor don't care. I just think sometimes we forget that man or woman is at work. And when you're at work, you know, it's a different type of energy with it. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean when I say that.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes when we're talking, I'll say, okay, so do you want my clinical perspective or do you want my personal opinion? Because that's coming from two different spaces, right? So
right.
No,
see, I didn't even know those two things could be, you know, one of the same. And that's why I can say I'm learning a lot, because one thing I'm finding out, especially when it comes to like people, I never realized that people were so sensitive to words. And I could say for me, I had so many harsh people around me that it almost made me null and void to what people could say about you, because I heard some awful stuff growing up. And you know what I mean? I just be thinking to myself, like, does it surprise you how fragile some people are by the words that they say? You know, because they got that old saying, what's light as a feather but sharper than any sword, and they say your words, you know. So how would you say, what would you say about that?
Personally, I definitely say words matter. I don't like speaking on somebody's like fragility, right? I don't like saying, oh, they're fragile, because for them, it might have been disrespectful, right? Like, okay, I'll give you a great example. I'm not an arguer, okay?
Right.
If somebody can't talk to me sensible as we're talking together right now, I refuse to even talk. I'm that person that will shut down, because I'm like, you can't argue by yourself. So, you know, for me, once somebody is like engaged in that, then I'm like, okay, I ain't got time for that. I mean, it's just, it's just not my personality. So that's what I look at, so certain words, yeah, it could possibly trigger someone. They could find it disrespectful. What if it's culturally disrespectful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
I
that's a
don't see
good point.
it as fragile. I just see it as that's what maybe has shaped their worldview, their belief system. So
Yeah, and kind of going back to a little lighter in boxing, the reason I say that is because I noticed that sometimes when things are said, especially like Shakur Stevenson, it's like he hears every single thing bad that's said about him, never
yeah,
anything good. And I just
no.
be wondering, like, do you think it's a bad thing to have those rabbit ears, so to speak, to where you hear everything?
If you're hearing everything bad, like,
Mm-hmm.
or you miss all the good that people say about you
Mm-hmm.
and you magnify the bad, I would say that you have a cognitive distortion at that time. Your thinking is distorted.
Mm-hmm.
So for whatever reason, he clings to the bad and he steps into his role as Shakur Twitterson. And I'm serious, I like the boxer, but I mean, he does do that. But I mean, who
I've
does?
never seen anybody that good that, it's weird. I've never seen somebody that good be that sensitive. It's crazy. Or even if you kind of go outside of boxing, it's like you will hear Kevin Durant
Mm-hmm.
like take all the. It's like it's weird to hear the people take all the negative and it's like you never hear the good stuff. It's like, where
Yeah.
you been?
Well,
I don't
no,
know if you ever felt that way.
yeah, it sucks because you're sitting there like, why are you so sensitive about it? But I don't know. I think, and I only think, I really don't know because I'm not in their mind. But I almost wonder sometimes when they realize just how great they are or how
Right.
elite of an athlete they are. Do
Mm-hmm.
they ever consider like what comes with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I truly think that, no different than those who leave the military. Doesn't always
Mm-hmm.
happen. They're supposed to be debriefed. They're supposed to receive counsel. They're supposed to receive all those things before they integrate back in the community, right? As
Mm-hmm.
civilians, I think it should be no different before they become like celebrities. I think there should be some sort of mental health support because I don't see them getting as like immersed and engaged to people that they will probably never meet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a different way to look at it. Maybe we can make a space for that one day.
Yeah. It's funny you said it because you just made me think about something. I remember watching the Bobby Brown show, right?
Okay.
And I remember like when Bobby Brown had, I don't know if you're familiar with the BET one he had. It was really good. They had, I think his name was Woody something.
Okay.
The dancer. He was playing Bobby Brown.
Okay.
And Woody said he would walk up and down the street and people would walking up to him and say, I wish you would just listen. And it's funny because when you see like a biopic, people don't understand that a lot of those mistakes are 30, 20, or even sometimes 40 years old. These are not new mistakes. These are mistakes that they made in the past that shaped their whole lives. And I always heard this little thing, and you can tell me if this is wrong. Do you think we always understand the magnitude of our choices? What do you think?
I think you can answer that yourself, BVO. You are quite intelligent, man.
No, I'm asking you because the reason I say that is because I'm finding out. I'm gonna just be honest. The reason I'm intelligent is because of some stuff that happened when I was a kid.
Okay.
Because and that probably sounds very superficial, but it's the God's
No,
honest truth.
no, you're
Because
good.
because of the people that I grew up around,
Mm-hmm.
it was very, very important for me to get the knowledge by hook or crook. And
Got you.
it's funny when I talk about it because when you don't have the knowledge, people treat you really bad. And I had some family members that were close to me who just and now that I'm older, I realize they just wasn't that sharp. Almost like that Forrest Gump stuff, but everybody don't treat Forrest right.
I'm
And
hearing.
because of that, that kind of inspired me to want to be intelligent and before you know it, you're a different person. Because I don't know, something about that knowledge, it changes you. You know what I mean? It gives you a little bit of confidence, and you kind of get excited because you actually know some things. You know what I mean? So,
I'm here. I'm
yeah,
here.
it's crazy when you think about it that way. But
Oh,
speaking back to boxing, when you see a
yeah.
guy, like a Devin Haney going into this fight with Brian Norman, what do you
Hmm.
think happens if Devin wins this fight? In your opinion?
He wins. Brian loses. I mean, somebody's gonna win. Why are you laughing at me, BBO?
Because the way you said it, somebody wins.
I mean, I'm confused because that is what's gonna happen. So Devin goes in, Devin wins, which I mean it's obvious. I've always stood 10 toes down, DHP all day, dream team, right? Okay,
I
Devin
never
wins,
heard that. You said the dream thing. I like that.
then
I
he
like
wins.
that.
If Brian wins, Brian wins. I mean, yeah, so I'm not a fortune teller, so I can't even say what will happen. But
You know, all the boxing I watch, and
mhm,
this is, it's hard for me to say this because me and Brian Norman Sr. are pretty good. We pretty good buddies. But
mm,
I think this is going to be an easy fight for Devin. I think it's going to be a really easy fight. And I think people don't understand it's hard for Mexicans to beat blacks. I just think it's just hard. The only one that's ever really done it is Oscar when he beat Pernell Whitaker. But that was such a controversial win.
mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if Mexican fighters can, can do that, get that same result. Because I look at Brian Norman as a Mexican fighter because if you watch him,
Yeah,
all
you
he
talk
does is come
about
forward.
style. Well, I
And
always joke when I hear people say that. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's Mexican boxing," and I'm like, so that's a whole another entity for me. But I do get the gist of what someone's saying. Like I'll think of people like Pitbull Cruz, right? And we're just coming forward, coming forward, coming forward. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
I really think that this fight, I think that this fight is going to be great. And the reason I say I think this fight is going to be great is because I think Devin's going to really surprise a lot of people. And I think he's going to win really, really easy. Because I just don't see, I don't know, I don't really see him, I don't see Devin losing. I just don't see Devin losing. I mean, it's impossible for a slick black fighter to lose this fight because all if you look at Buka Chica, you look at Randall, you just know that this is gonna be easy money for Devin. This is gonna be easy money. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I don't. I'm really careful because I don't like to take away from
Mm-hmm.
whoever is one of my, my fighters that I really rock with because I just love boxing, right? But then,
Yeah.
yes, I am going to be biased against some fighters. I mean, anybody says they aren't, they're full of it. But what I will say is I'm intentional. I don't want to say it's going to be so easy because then how many people probably say, Devin wins, and they're like, oh, well, that was a cherry pick. Oh, we should have known he was going to win. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to continue to give props to Brian Norman Jr. and all that he plans to do. I mean, we haven't really seen much, but at the end of the day, he's stepping up to go against Devin. So I'm definitely, like I said, DHP all day. So what's up, Mr. Shelton? What's up, family?
If you see Sheldon's videos, he got the craziest videos I ever see. I love
That's my family right there.
Sheldon.
I'm always laughing at his shorts.
when he had Ryan and that black dude fighting over that chicken. Oh my god.
Yeah, his videos are hilarious.
It's funny. But the one thing I did want to ask you is this: when you look at the landscape of boxing, who do you think is going to be the next big star? Now that we see some of the guys that we've been watching, do you have anybody else that you've been watching that's on the come up?
Abdullah, or
Mhm.
some say Abdullah. Yeah, Abdullah, something.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Abdullah Mason. I am excited about that young guy. Really, I am. And I think a lot of it for me, Keyshawn Davis. Obviously, I'm from Virginia, so I'm not going to
Oh
lie.
yeah.
You know, I'm hopeful that Keyshawn will come back. So,
I just think I just think no matter how you put it, when you look at Keyshawn, he made a grave mistake. But I think people putting too much on that.
they did. I mean,
I think
yeah, I agree, BBO.
I mean I just I heard the funniest thing from somebody, and they said Detroit Red could have never became Malcolm X in this society. And I think it's very true. I think it's very true. This the society that we live in now is
Yeah.
pretty judgmental, and it's like they want to judge people for every little thing that they do. And I don't know how that works. You know what I mean? You can't tell me that's positive to where you're judging people so hard that you don't give them a chance to make mistakes, to
Hmm.
do the right thing, or whatever the case may be. It's
Exactly.
just it's just crazy because I know people don't read. If people knew the kind of vices Dr. King had, I
Hmm.
mean, these people forget that these guys were human.
Hmm.
These guys were human, and it's like, dang. Like
No.
I was reading this thing about Dr. King's mother, right?
Hmm.
And I couldn't imagine being at Sunday service and somebody comes in and blows the organist off the piano like that. I couldn't imagine that. You know what I mean? I just think like if you
Right.
ever like if you ever see some of the stuff that happened to these guys along the way, I feel like that people are just so susceptible to propaganda now, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just like, wow. What's that saying you got? We all doing this for the very first time. Where did you come up with that? I like that one.
You know, I said one day I'm going to try to find something similar. I don't know. It started, I would say, close to 4 years ago for me when I would be counseling people. This is no exaggeration. And I might be intentional tonight and try to find something similar. I can't imagine that I just came up with it. So I'm going to try to find out where that came from because I've been saying it for years. Well, I'll just say we're all doing this thing called life for the very first time. Like,
That's a good point.
yeah, yeah. It removes a lot of unnecessary shame, guilt, all of those things. So, and even
Um,
blaming. So,
I think the blame game is just a popular game to play. I'll play it all the time. I'll play the blame game all the time. I have to actually stop myself from playing the blame game.
mhm. Is it
Yeah.
self blame or is it like pointing at others?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
A little bit of both. But I definitely appreciate you coming on today. We're not gonna do a long episode because I want to watch the football game. But I definitely can't
Who
wait
you
to have you
going
back
for?
next week. I want to see Dallas win.
Of course. That's the
I'm a
best team
Browns
ever.
fan.
That is
I'm a Browns
America's
fan.
team. America's team.
I would agree with you on that. I would agree with you on that. But I want to see how they do because I got Dak as my quarterback starting on my
All
fantasy
right,
team. So
y'all.
I want to see what he do.
I
Well, on that note,
appreciate all of
check
y'all.
Miss Fields out. She's great. We're gonna have her back next week. And we always try to have her on. So we're gonna have more mental health stuff. I'm working on getting a phone line for everybody who needs help. Because
That
at the end of the
would be-
day, man, if you need help, it's very important to reach out because you're not alone. We're all in this thing together.
Yes, we are. All right,
On that
y'all.
note, we out of here, y'all. Peace.
Bye. Bang, bang, Nana gang. That's right, Shelton. You and my mom. All right, y'all.
All right, peace.